Why, hello there. Welcome to a new channel of mine called Divine Reviews. My name is Divine Can't Sleep, as usual. Uh, if you can't tell by this channel name, what I'm going to be doing here is pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to simply be reviewing different types of anime and manga for the time being. I may dive into other media contents, but for the time being, it's simply just anime and manga since that's something I've grown up on since middle school, and I've barely really reached the surface of everything there is in this type of community. But if this is your first time seeing a video of mine, well, hello there. My name is Divine Can't Sleep. I hope you're having a incredible day, and hopefully this video can cheer you up in the slightest way. But I'm a variety streamer, content creator, not so much content creator as I am streamer, but I'm currently doing a challenge on Twitch at the moment where I am trying to get a platinum on PlayStation for every letter of the alphabets. And for the letters that I can't do because either A, I don't have the money to purchase a game for that letter, or B, I couldn't really find a game that interested me, I've spun a random wheel for a bunch of games that I plan on getting the platinum on either sooner or later. But I do other things besides platinum stuff. I'm currently in the midst of just like normal let's plays and things of that nature. Like platinum stuff is essentially second to mine. Like I do like to play other games and just things I've never really played before. But the first manga we are going to be reviewing on this channel is going to be Seraph of the End. It is a manga that's been recommended to me by a couple of friends, and from what I've read so far, it's interesting to say the very least. So, how this is going to work is I'm going to read a rundown of each chapter one by one, and then give you my thoughts on each and every chapter. And then at the very end, I'm going to give you a theory, couple theories I have, a prediction or two I may have, and of course character rankings, and along as some other information as well. You'll get the gist of this as we go further along. But without further ado, let's start the Seraph of the End manga review, Volume One, Chapter One: The World of Blood Legacy. Just an FYI, this does contain spoilers for Seraph of the End, so if you have not seen the anime or read the manga, please proceed with caution. If you don't want to watch the video anymore past this point, I completely understand. And without any further ado, it's time to begin the actual review. Seraph of the End starts off with the main character, Yūichirō, talking with a side character that will totally, and I mean totally, won't be dying soon, Mika. It's revealed that they are in an underground vampire city and are having their blood taken, which is kind of kinky, but alright, you do you. After their conversation, they run to a noble, that being Firid Batari. I would like to apologize in advance, I'm not the greatest with Japanese names. Where it's revealed that Mika has been giving this ugly ass motherfucker blood in exchange for food. Mind you, Yorichiro and Mika are 12 years old. If this isn't the weirdest fucking behavior I've ever seen. Pedo behavior aside, we get a flashback where it shows that the two characters met at an orphanage when they were 8 years old, and in this flashback, it's shown that the world has ended due to a virus affecting those over the age of 13. Jumping back to the present, however, we see Yurichio joining his orphanage family, though not eating till Maka returns, since he knows how the food was obtained. Once Mika is back, he tells Yurichiro that he stole a map and a gun from Firid, and with Yurichiro wanting to escape the vampires, they jump on the chance to leave the underground city that night. It turns out, though, this whole thing was a trap by pedo Firid, and after his speech, blah blah blah, shut the fuck up, he begins to murder the orphans. After a pretty good fight, Mika is able to distract Firid while Yuichiro blasts him in the face with the gun and makes his way out of the underground city, leaving Maka to die from his injuries. Going into this series and knowing nothing about it, the first page of the manga was actually fucking wild to me. The fact that it just said that the kids were enslaved by vampires caught me so off guard. And it said it so casually too, like it was just another Monday in Florida or some bullshit. It did get me hooked though. That's for sure. I really did enjoy the art style though. You know, props to the creator. I don't know the creator's name, so don't come at me. I apologize. And I'm not gonna lie to any of you. I thought Mika was a girl till they actually said that he was a boy in the manga. And the way they introduced Mika, it seemed like he was a standoffish person, and I that just made me think he was bitchman. Like I don't know why, but it just did. And with their dialogue, you can actually tell that these are in fact kids. It's not like some other animes where the kids are talking with like 20 fucking years of experience with them. Naruto. But the strength of the vampires to humans is also kind of wild to me. These things really need to be hit by an 8-man gangbang in order to die, and like I'm all for it. I love me some Yuji and Nanami times 4. But aside from that, I do fucking hate the vampires. They talk like they're above everyone else, which is something that really just fucking irritates me, man. Moving on, when we first meet Firid, I thought he was another girl based on appearance alone, and I was so wrong. And as soon as Firid called Mika a quote unquote good little boy, I wanted to kill him right then and there. I wanted to put his head on a pole like it was the fucking Walking Dead. And I am not sorry for that spoiler. It's kind of on you if you have not seen The Walking Dead. And then the comments rolled in on Mika's blood, which was also fucking disgusting. Though that's all I'm going to say about Feared for right now. I could go on a whole fucking spill of him being just a pedo. But while I understand why Mika was doing it, it's still disgusting in my opinion. Not much to talk about for a little bit since, it's just kind of like us getting to know the plot and story a little more. Though I did enjoy the manga and I did enjoy discovering that Yūichirō was an orphan and was sent to an orphanage before the world went to shit. And the flashback did a really good job of showing this. I enjoyed the entirety of it, except when the kids said all the horrible things their parents did to them. And my God, I feel so bad for those kids, and I also feel bad about the director just dying in front of these poor traumatized fucking kids. Like, oh my God, that must have fucking sucked. But moving on yet again. In the story so far, I was actually enjoying a lot of the characters. Yujiro felt like a good fit for the protagonist, and Mika, along with the rest of the orphans, were just overall really good side characters, and it made me feel that much more invested with them. And then when Mika came back and revealed that he got a hold of a map and a gun, I low key went wild, even though I could just tell it was going to be a trap. But nonetheless, I still held out hope for them though, and hopefully it wasn't a trap. But we'll see if I was right or wrong in just a few moments. So when Mika did start to cry, I did have a little theory on why he was crying, that being that the vampires did something more to Mika than just take his blood, since the tears came out of nowhere seemingly. This theory was never confirmed nor denied in the first volume, so I will never know unless they confirm it in another volume. And as soon as Mika suggested they leave that night, it kind of just confirmed my thought of their escape being a trap. And funny enough, looking over my footage that's on Patreon, I had another theory that there were people that were still alive. And again, we'll see if that was true or not in a few minutes. And as soon as they started talking in front of the stairs, I was just yelling at them in the back of my head to run. Then Fearid showed up and told them all that it was a trap. So in the end, I was right on that part. Even though I knew it was a trap, the way Fearid killed one of the kids really just fucking shocked me. I didn't think it was going to be that quick. I mean, this man really just pretended The kid's neck was one big ass straw and just drank till there was nothing left. Then the fact he dodged a bullet was fucking insanity. How is he already that fast? Like, the feats are not feeding up, you feel me? Anyway, I will say that Feared was a menace, even if he is a pedo. He does give some awesome ass speeches, and like I said, full on ministry mode. I could also just go on a whole little rambo, or apologies, ramble about how much of a menace he was, but I'll hold off. I'll refrain from now. And it was at this point that Mika became such a really good side character to me when he took the gun from Yūichirō and started fighting Feared. Granted, this fight only lasted a couple panels, but it takes a lot for someone to fight someone else who's far better than them. And then Yūichirō grabbed it back and fired point fucking blank. Peak manga, peak cinema, peak everything. It was a bit sad that Yūichirō had to leave Mika behind, as I really did enjoy his character, and when Yūichirō said that they were his family, it was just a heartwarming, feel-good moment, and as Yūichirō escapes, I believe that Mika was dead from his wounds, and Yuichiro being able to escape the underground city did prove my other theory to be right, and that people were indeed alive, and the vampires had simply lied to him. And then this is where Giren shows up and goes on the spill about the Hyakuya company destroying Japan, whatever the fuck that means, and that's where the first chapter leaves off. I thought it was a good chapter to start the series off, and it made me want to read more because of that. And going into chapter two, I didn't really have any theories on what could happen next. I was just curious on what they were going to do from there, and oh boy, they did a lot of stuff which will be covered in the rundown of chapter two. Chapter 2: Humanity After the Fall. 4 years have gone by since Yūichirō was able to escape the underground city. Since then, he's become a guard in Tokyo where remnants of humanity reside. Girin, the bitch-ass stubborn idiot that found him, has had Yūichirō monitored at school for not knowing what the fuck teamwork means. Shinoa, a girl that was assigned to observe Yūichirō, watches him help Yoichi, another useless body, from being bullied. Useless Body then remembers his sister dying from the vampires, so like Yūichirō, wants to join the Moon Demon Company, which is a vampire extermination unit if you couldn't tell. As they're doing something, an Amber Alert goes off by saying a vampire is on campus. Grabbing the sharp sword and blicky from his locker, Yūichirō starts a fight with it as Useless Body shows up to help as well. They get bodied by the vampire, proving that an 8-man gangbang is needed to beat it. Yūichirō is soon yeeted out the window like he's a fly by the vampire. Girin then shows up with his squad and saves Yūichirō by one-tapping the vampire. After which, Yūichirō is knocked out, with Dream Mika being happy he's made a friend and bids him goodbye. Yūichirō then wakes up where he and Useless Body are welcomed to the Moon Demon Company by Shinoa. The one thing I don't understand is that there are way more Biting King related things happening within the first couple pages of this chapter than there has been in the entire series thus far. Like, it's starting to turn into a hub video at this point, but aside from that, the opening page of 16-year-old Yūichirō was absolutely phenomenal. Him being the main focus of the panel to the post-Japan setting was just chef's kiss, my boy. All in all, a really good way to show off an older Yūichirō, and the fact that he soloed a full Horseman of Jian at the age of 16 is absolutely wild. And just an FYI, I do not know what a four Horseman of Jian is, so I have no idea if it was another Monday or a really good feat for his age. It also caught me off guard that the world is actually normal for the most part. You hardly ever see things go back to normal in this type of world setting they're in, and it is good to have a change like that, though. Also, the fact that Yūichirō wanted to get expelled is kind of funny to me. Like, you're being sent to this school as a punishment because you don't know what teamwork means. I don't think it's a good idea to be asking to be kicked out of like training or something, man. Like, it's just I don't know. You get expelled from school and you're probably gonna get kicked out of training so you can, kiss the Moon Demon Company goodbye. And when Snow was first introduced, I thought she was just going to stay quiet. I didn't expect her to ever say a word, in which, thinking back on it, was a little dumb to think, considering she most likely didn't talk to avoid getting in trouble. Though, based on mere vibes and what I currently know about her character, I do really like her a lot. I couldn't tell you why exactly, she's just one of those characters I like at the moment. And moving on once again, we jump to yet another flashback showing us what happened after Girin showed up in front of Yūichirō. As for my first thoughts on Girin, a self-centered prick who thinks he's the best. And I still think that to this day. But I can't really put my finger on it just yet, but I can also kind of tell that Gurren is simply putting a mask on in front of the public. Then again, I could also just be talking out of my ass, but only the people who have read the manga would know if I am or not. Though I will say this one thing, Gurren is a badass for sure, through and through. And I also think that he's a little bit of a manipulator. I couldn't really tell you why, but I don't know, it's just that's in the back of my head. But anyway, that's enough of Big Man Gurren. I love that Shinoa straight up calls out Yūichirō about not wanting to get close to people just in case they die. And this is the part where we get to meet Yoichi, Useless Body. See, if I was getting bullied, I would just fight back. On God, on God. Jokes aside, though, it's good that Yūichirō got, the bullies off of him. It's rare to see others stand up for each other, so, good on him. A little round of applause. I also find it funny when Shinoa said that being caught harming a civilian would extend his suspension. So not only does this man gotta make a friend, he also has to not punch somebody in the face, as long as Shinoa is around, that is. And I gotta agree with Yoichi. Yoichi has got to stop saying sorry for stuff. And the fact that Yoichi is going out of his way to ask people to be his friend is kind of sad. I understand the reasoning behind it. It's, because Eustace side characters said that he was going to be in one of the vampire extermination groups, and Yoichi wanted to retake the test since he failed it. But I mean, it's still kind of sad, man. And when it shows us the vampire killing Yoichi's sister, you do kind of feel bad for him because he really had to watch his own sister be killed, and I don't think anyone could ever fully recover from that. Though Yūichirō is fucking ruthless in these next couple panels, calling Yoichi a wimp and that he would just be in the way. Like, what the fuck? He just wanted to get revenge for his sister, and you're being a fucking prick. Though this is where we get to the good parts, the vampire escaping the lab and Yorichiro fighting it. It is interesting to know that vampires regain their strength by drinking blood. Normally, in the other types of media I've seen, they just like blood or use it to get stronger. I've never really seen something where it's used to regain strength. And I will say one thing that surprised me was this man Yorichiro really kept his fucking sword and his gun in a locker. Like, broski, it's a bad idea to have a gun or a sword in a school, especially these days. Though that means it is time for the showdown. Not much is to be said about this fight since it's mostly one-sided till Yoichi joins in, and even then, it's still mainly one-sided. That said, though, we learn that Use the side character was lying this entire time about joining the extermination group, and only said it to look like a badass when he's really just a man-made bitch. And aside from that, this fight was actually pretty good. Even with the vampire not having most of its strength, it was still going toe to toe with Yurichiro and even getting the best of him at times. Though Yurichiro did get some good blows in himself, like cutting the vampire's arm off. but then the vampire regenerated it like it was nothing, so that good blow doesn't count, and that also means Yūichirō didn't get any good blows to begin with. But it is what it is. And by now, I thought Yujiro would have learned his lesson that vampires can dodge gunshots, but I guess he hasn't. And it turns out, Yoichi turned out to be the goat for once, being able to tackle the vampire to stop it from sucking that one girl dry. Though Yoichi just becomes useless body again and watches as Yoichiro gets speared through the glass like it's fucking Braun Breaker versus Cedric Alexander. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, look up that match. You'll see what I mean. Then we have Big Man Gurren coming out of nowhere and saving the day and saves Yoichiro by one tapping the vampire. And I will say that kill was badass. And then he becomes a non-badass by lecturing Yūichirō. Blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up, Gurren. Nobody has time for these long-ass lectures. I also find it funny that Yūichirō still says he's not interested in friends, yet already has one. Like, you just contradicted yourself, man. But then we have Yoichi somehow knocking out Yūichirō by dislocating his shoulder. I mean, pop off, I guess. It was a heartwarming scene to see Mika and the rest of the orphans being proud of Yurishiro for finally making a friend, and it was a little bit sad to see him leave him finally. But then he wakes up and finds out he gets to join that vampire extermination unit, which is good on him. Yurichiro definitely has the power to kill vampires if given the right tools to do so. And with that, that rounds out chapter 2. It was a good follow up from chapter 1, introduced a few more characters, gave a new storyline for Yurichiro and whatnot. Overall, it was a good continuation and had me excited for the third chapter. And same thing I said at the end of chapter 1, I didn't really have any theories or predictions going into the next chapter. I just wanted to know what happened next, and maybe I shouldn't have been as excited as I was for chapter 3, since they hit me with the biggest plot twist I've ever seen, which will be covered in the rundown of chapter 3. Chapter 3: The Demon in Your Heart. The chapter starts off on top of the school, Yurichiro and Shinoa engaging in a conversation. Somewhere in the conversation, don't remember nor care, Yurichiro is able to witness Shinoa's cursed gear scythe and the demon manifestation power. Yurichiro then tells Shinoa to hand over the power, and at which charges at Shinoa. The fight between the two doesn't last long because Yurichiro is built like a bitch. Yusa's body then shows up on the roof where they learn a student has entered the forbidden chamber. And no, it's not that kind of chamber. Get your mind out of the gutter. They decide to enter the restricted zone. Yurichiro has the big dumb idea to grab the weapon that the student has, which contains a demon he cannot beat on his own, said by Shinoa. He follows through with this idea and grabs the axe. Yurichiro is then met with Mika and his orphan family, reminding them that they are dead and he killed them by running away. Along with that, Mika says he hasn't gotten revenge for them yet, and at this point, Yurichiro affirms that this isn't Mika, saying that Mika would never ask him to get revenge. The bitch demon that showed up as Mika is then banished to the Shadow Realm. Shinoa and Useless Body see that Yurichiro managed to come back on his own. He then hears Shinoa say that he can finally attend classes with the rest of the vampire extermination unit. The manga then switches to Furid and the underground vampire city, showing that the gunshot to the face did not kill him, nor leave any permanent injuries. It shows him sharing the news of Yurichiro to none other than Mika, who is alive and well. The start of this chapter is interesting to say the least. It doesn't start off on the rooftop just yet. It starts off with Yurichiro being given a love letter from the girl he ends up saving. And I was very surprised by this. I did not expect Yurichiro, out of all people, to get a love letter. It is what it is, though. Then we move to the rooftop, and Shinoa is direct like always. I think that's why I like her character so much. Direct characters who say stuff without thinking are always funny to me. Not to mention, she straight up just calls Yurichiro a virgin, which is also funny to me. I will say, since they did bring up the virus again, I am very curious about it. What kind of virus could suddenly make the people drop dead? Is it even a virus that killed everyone? Which I do have a little theory on that. I don't think it's I don't think a virus could move that quickly and powerful on its own. I feel like there just has to be another reason that most of the people ended up dying from it. Shinoa's whole spiel about taking over the world and people need to breed is so fucking funny to me. The short ass girl saying breed for us civilians is so funny, and if you disagree, you have no sense of humor. Uh, After that, nothing good really happens till Shinoa pulls out the scythe, which kind of caught me off guard. Though I will say that thing looks so fucking badass. From the way it looks to the way it attacks, everything about it is perfection. Her scythe is way cooler than Gurren's sword will ever be. On top of that, the demon inside the scythe is also cool as shit. Of course, Yūichiro's dumbass demands Shinoa to hand it over to him and then charges at her with his generic ass sword. Like, bro, you was not getting that scythe. I don't know why you're making a fool out of yourself. And of course, Shinoa beats his ass for it, and let me tell you, when she sent that demon to smack Yūichiro, eternally, I was geeking out so fucking much. That demon is so freaking cool, and I really do hope I get to see Shinoa in combat a lot more. I love the way she fights. We have Yoichi running onto the rooftop and screaming for Yūichiro to help him. Though what did surprise me were the use of side characters chasing after him and asking to be his disciples. How pathetic do you gotta be to go from bullying this man to asking to be his disciples? What a bunch of lazy ass bitches. After this, though, we learn that one of their friends went into the Forbidden Chamber, and I am not holding back for this. You gotta be real fucking stupid to enter something called the Forbidden Chamber. Like, seriously, are you asking for a death wish in this day and age? All of these generic ass side characters are fucking idiots, man. Anyway, ramble aside, Shinoa kind of goes off on them saying that their friend has been severely punished, that being arrested and could be getting executed for it, which I don't blame her for saying that, but it was a bit harsh. We can skip a good chunk of this chapter now, not much I want to speak on until they actually get inside the chamber. It was interesting to read about it being one of the seven wonders of the world and whatnot, but nothing too interesting to speak more about. I do think it's a bit fucked up that this entire school is just one giant human experiment. Like, they can't breed if you're experimenting on them. Moving on, once again, there's not much more to talk about while they're in the chamber. I love the way it looks though, all the swords stabbed into the ground everywhere as if there's been a war dragging on for ages. Those kind of scenes are something that I love a lot. And the usual happens, Yūichiro being a dumbass and running into the chamber to get a contract with the demon. I swear, sooner or later, one of these dumbass moves he pulls is gonna get him seriously injured or worse. Shinoa is able to stop him for a moment though, telling him the danger of touching the cursed weapon. But of course, Yūichiro is one stubborn motherfucker and still goes for the axe anyway. I am actively preying on his downfall because of the amount of bullshit he does. It was really cool to see the orphan shit talk Yūichiro for a few minutes. They were really just going in on his ass. Though Yūichiro calls out the demon for doing all of that, which was kind of cool, I guess. Then the demon just hits him with a fuck this shit on mount and gets banished to the Shadow Realm. We can skip some more pages since there's really not much to comment on, though this is where my favorite part of the chapter comes into play. It shows us the underground city once again with Feared walking, and at first, when he started saying Mika's name, I was thinking the worst. I thought Mika's head was gonna be on a pole like some Walking Dead shit. I was expecting a dead Mika, not an alive one. The fact that Mika was alive caught me so off guard and got me so invested into his character, and not only his character, but the series as well. Again, internally, I was geeking the fuck out since Mika looks so different and so much more like a badass. I was so excited to see this version of Mika in action. And with that, those are my thoughts about each chapter, but the video isn't over just yet. I'm also going to be going over a couple theories I have, a prediction on what's going to happen next, and a little bit of a character ranking. So I hope you stick around and listen to that as well. Before we get into my main two theories and my prediction on what's going to happen next, I want to give my quick thoughts on the manga as a whole. It started off really incredible, had a nice opening, a good pace, and overall kept me interested in wanting to read more, something of which is really hard to do since my brain is always bouncing all over the place due to ADHD. Now, let's get into the main theory I have. I think Mika has been turned into a vampire somehow. Either that or he's been manipulated into joining the vampire side. The main reason I say that is because I don't think under any normal circumstance that Mika would ever join their side. I feel like he would just try to continue escaping and joining Yūichirō until he was finally killed. As for my other theory, it's about the virus. I don't think it really was a virus based on the way the director just suddenly fell to the ground dead and how like the entire world went into chaos. It may sound crazy of me, but I think it was the vampires that planned this all out. And if the ones like Feared can dodge bullets, there's no telling how fast the vampires truly are, and it would not surprise me if they could move faster than the eye can see. And I know Girin said something about the Hyakuya company, but I don't really know that much about it, so I can't really comment on that. Before the prediction, however, let's get into some character ranking, shall we? Out of the ones that will be ranked, it's six characters. So coming in dead last is Pedo Feared. I hate his fucking guts. You cannot convince me otherwise. And right above Feared is Yusa's body, otherwise known as Yoichi. He's just too boring of a character for me at the moment. Maybe in future chapters his ranking might change, but I doubt it. And then that brings us to number 4, which 3 and 4 is a toss up on how I'm feeling. But for this video, fourth place is going to Yūichirō. He's had some cool and good moments, but he's too stupid to ever stop and think more than like 2 seconds. And then coming in at number 3 is Jiren. Not much to say about him, to be honest. May hate him, but as it stands, I like him a little more than Yūichirō. Number 2, belonging to Mika, the one and only. As much as I disliked him in the first chapter, his character had grown on me since, and his comeback in the third chapter made him shoot up in the rankings. His older design and stuff is so damn cool, and I cannot wait to see more of him. And that means coming in at number 1 and my favorite character in the series at the moment is Shinoa. I could go on and on about her. I could give this whole ramble, but I won't. She's funny, she's great, and she's a badass. That's all there is to say. Now, as for predictions, I predict that Mika is going to get sent out of the underground city and go after Yūichirō. Of course, he's gonna be surprised that the world hasn't gone to shit, but still go after Yuichiro nonetheless. And I think that it's gonna be a battle between Yuichiro, Girin, and Shinoa versus Mika. Yoichi might be there as well, but I can't see him doing much. And I know it's a short prediction, but it's kind of hard to make a well thought out one just basing this all off of 3 chapters. Though that is going to be all from yours truly in this video. I do have a Patreon if you wish to see my live or my full live reactions whenever I read Seraph of the End. You can go to patreon.com/DevonCan'tSleep and subscribe for only $1 a month. I may up this price in the future, but for now, I just want to make content for people that enjoy. And I'll start worrying about making money if this channel starts doing well. Of course, I do have a main YouTube channel, that being Devon Can't Sleep. I also have a VOD channel, that being Devon Can't Sleep VODs, which the VOD channel hasn't had anything uploaded to it, but the day you see this is the day I'll be streaming, and the day after I stream, that's where all of my streams will go. And one last thing, don't forget to check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/DevonCan'tSleep. I may be streaming while you watch this, so don't be afraid to drop on by and give a follow. I'm only 9 followers away from affiliate, and it would mean the world to me if you gave me support. With that, though, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Till the next video, Divine out. Goodbye, folks, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Moving on once again, there's not one. Speak English. You fucking speak it, man. And I lost my fucking spot. Jumping back to the present, however, we see Yoroshi. Fuck! Moving on once again, there's not more. I swear to God, bro, this is fucking voiceover 38. I want to be done with this shit. So, what did surprise me were the use of side characters chasing him. Fuck. Dude, this is probably gonna go on the fucking bloopers, but dude, this shit is so much fucking harder than you realize. Grabbing the sharp sword and blicking from his locker, Yūichirō starts a fight with it as Luffy. I just want to get this done with. Such a feel good, heartwarming moment, though. As Yūichirō, motherfucker.